I don't think the Beggar's Bazooka is a very good weapon in Team Fortress 2. I think it's the worst rocket launcher Soldier has in his arsenal. There are reasons why people like it, but I say they're either too generalized to all the rocket launchers, they're so counteracted by the downsides of those mechanics, or they're so minimal in their applications that they're not worthwhile to consider when choosing the weapon. You can fire 3 rockets at once with it, and that may ensure you can do mass damage, but the price of that is you have 0 spontaneity and have to load those 3 rockets at once. I would say that's not a worthwhile trade-off. Because of this mechanic, you can no longer peek as easily, having to load a rocket and time it so it shoots out, and if someone gets the drop on you, you have nothing you can do about it unless you have a shotgun to switch to. A scout or a spy turning up behind you is relatively hard to counter with the weapon, having to wait a full 1.2 seconds to load a rocket to fire. 1.2 seconds is an enormous amount of time in a fast-paced game like Team Fortress 2. Furthermore, it's not if just someone runs into you, it's harmful if you run to someone else first. Walking around corners or down a tunnel is always a gamble because if you run into someone, you again have to load a rocket. That's a massive fault. So now we have a dilemma while using it. Load up a rocket while crossing into a popular corner, and waste rockets if no one's there, leaving you with less ammo, or not loading any rockets, and if someone is there, have to fight them after a full second of loading. Now a lot of this can be mitigated if you carry a shotgun with you, but there's one issue with that: blast jumping. A major selling point for this weapon is the ability to blast jump around the map with ease. That's fine enough in its own right, however such jumping practically necessitates the gun bullets to be used to negate all that self-damage. So now you have to choose between being secured defensively or being protected while jumping. The stock rocket launcher doesn't have this conundrum because you can fire immediately if your clip is filled, which it should be anyways almost all the time. Furthermore, the use of these enormous jumps is debatable. While yes, you can hop right to enemy spawn or something, a soldier works best as a pseudo-pick class. He's supposed to attack people around the front line, his rocket launcher being great for area of effect damage. This doesn't mean Soldier is always on the front line, but slightly forward of it too, attacking and killing small groups or lone targets. Jumping 2.5 miles behind the front line isn't helping your team like you should as a soldier. People also say this weapon has a bottomless clip, because you continuously load up rockets and fire them at a similar rate as compared to the stock rocket launcher. And while this is true, this weapon effectively has a bottomless clip, but there is a timing difference between the two weapons. The Beggar's Bazooka has a 1.196 second interval between the fires, because you have to load the rocket, while the stock rocket launcher has a 0.8 second interval with its clip. That's 30% slower. For comparison, that's the difference between building faster with Jag and building a sentry with stock. However, if the clip is empty, the stock is still faster with a reload speed of 0.92 seconds. The Beggar's is ultimately slower. This weapon has 3 degrees of random projectile deviation. This weapon will just randomly shoot rockets 3 degrees off, which may seem not a lot, but at medium ranges, like if you're shooting at a control point or from/to behind cover, it adds up quickly. Now you can miss your target entirely even if your crosshair was where they're gonna be or where they are. The great thing that Soldier has over Demo Man is greater control of when and where his explosions happen. While Demo Man has a sticky bombs, the fuse time means that he has to wait, while a soldier can just shoot his feet and explode on impact. Firing onto a raised floor or between layers of cover or around corners are all tasks that require great crosshair placement and timing. The random deviation ruins all that. Rockets not going directly where you want them is a big issue. You're limiting yourself to splash shots and closer targets. I will admit it's harder for pyros to deflect your rockets because of the difference in tempo and because the Beggar's Bazooka has the loading mechanic where you can fire 3 rockets at once. That's very good against air blast. However, that's not a pro only held by the Beggars. Both the Liberty Launcher and the direct hit make it harder for pyros to air blast from a distance, and close up any launcher would do well because at near melee range, air blast is very difficult for all but the best pyros. I will admit, people can get good at bad weapons. That's something people seem to ignore. If you get a godlike kill streak with the Righteous Bison, that doesn't mean the Bison is a sleeper pick of the summer. It might just mean you have over 10,000 hours and are very good at the game. Personally, a weapon I consider myself good at is the Liberty Launcher. I will admit it's a bad weapon, not as bad as many people think, but I'm not going to claim it's the best launcher because I know how to use it correctly. I will end by saying random crits, and crits in general, are not a reason to use the weapon. People don't use the stock over the Southern Hospitality because it has random crits. People use the stock over the Southern Hospitality because the Southern Hospitality doesn't offer anything the stock doesn't have. Random crits shouldn't even be in the game anyways, and a medic isn't always guaranteed, let alone a medic who will pocket you. I just don't think the Beggar's Bazooka is very good.